Hello, welcome to Dungeon Dwellers Podcast. I'm your host, Justin. Today, we're reviewing another found footage movie, Grave Encounters 2, which is, you're probably wondering, shouldn't I have reviewed the first movie? Probably, but I've been, I've been wanting to check out this movie for a while now, and I didn't really feel like rewatching the first movie, which the first movie is good. It's just that I just, didn't feel like it. So this movie is directed by John Poliquin. It's apparently written by the Vicious brothers who directed the first movie. The movie stars Richard Harmon as Alex Wright, Sean Rogerson as Lance Preston, and the Vicious brothers have cameos. And you got Jean Lapp as Jennifer Parker and Dylan Playfair as Trevor Thompson. If you couldn't tell by the cast and the director, this is pretty much a Canadian film. This movie's like hour for 40 minutes, by the way. I don't know. I wanted to check this movie out because on Letterboxd, people say this movie's great, but then what culture what culture horror made a list of 8 movies you die before you see or some shit, like some nonsense like that. So I'm like, and I saw that Grave Encounters 2 was on there, which is weird because I'm like, I heard that movie was good, so I rented it, and I rented it despite the fact that it's on YouTube for free, but because I'm hard at hearing, I couldn't hear what people were saying, so I had to fucking rent it, and so I could get the subtitles. Which, if you can tell by my tone, I did not like this movie at all. The movie, it's the thing where the movie after like an hour does get better, but the first half of the movie is fucking garbage. So the movie starts off with in one of the most cringe way possible, where it starts off with YouTube reviews for the first movie, which some of them might have been fake, but I know at least one of them was real because they had we watched the movie's review of Grave Encounters and that little montage of YouTube reviews, which I'm a huge fan of. We watched the movie, the YouTube channel. I've been watching them for years. I think they might have been the ones who told me to watch this movie back in the day. Well, not they told me, but I watched the review and I'm like, oh, I might check out. I would check out. What I'm trying to say is, I think I saw the review and that made me go out and buy Grave Encounters 1, which I own, and I saw with my friend, and we enjoyed it. It was a great movie. This movie, well, it starts off with Project X, where you have this wannabe film student who on Halloween night, instead of going to a Halloween party at his dorm, he reviews Grave Encounters 1 for Halloween, and immediately goes to jacking off to shemale porn. Which it's all pixelated, but it's like, holy fuck, I could yeah, you see a big what sounds like a chick getting banged, but a big floppy pixelated thing flopping around. where the chicks what should be. So it's like, I don't know. It starts off with Project X, if you ever seen that movie, which I haven't, but where people are filming a party going on, there's hot chicks making out, people are fucking around with blow up dolls, right? The main character's roommate, who's in film school to be a film producer, who's played by Dylan Playfair, who's in Letterkenny, that really shitty Canadian comedy show, which I was told was good. And I saw the first season. It was fucking terrible. But that actor is good in the movie. I thought he was great. I didn't know he was Canadian. Though the other guy, Richard Harmon, I could tell he was Canadian, but like other than that, yeah. So like what ends up happening is the guy, Alex Wright's character, gets after getting caught jacking off to female porn, gets dragged to the party and dragged because he didn't have any other costumes to wear. Parties with his friends. They're shooting like this really shitty slasher horror movie with this girl Jennifer in the lead who has a crush on Alex Wright, which is the main character. After that party, he gets a message, or sorry, a YouTube comment on his review from this guy called Death Awaits, and is sending him like messages about Grave Encounters, and this convinces Alex Wright that Grave Encounters is real, and he goes to investigate. He meets up with the movie producer, finds out the directors of the first movie were interns, that they actually did basically Grave Encounters was real, right? That's the basic premise. So our characters go to Canada after the hour point or whatever. He drags his lesbian sound woman. You got like Asian camera guy. His producer's there, and the star of his movie is also there, Jennifer Parker, who's his love interest in the movie, right? They go to the asylum. Weird shit happens. Some of the characters die. They meet up with Lance Preston, who's still alive inside the asylum, even though it's supposed to be have been 10 years since the events of the first movie, which the first movie was only 2 years ago, because that movie came out in 2011. This movie came out in 2013. What ends up happening is basically the Death Awaits was a ghost or some kind of entity in the asylum that wants our characters to make a second film, and only one person can come out, right? And you can figure out what happens after there. So my problem with the movie is that it's super. The first half of the movie is super cringe. The second half, there were some scares here and there, but it just I don't know. It was just cringe. It was just terrible, dude. There's a point where the ghosts are taking the cameras and then started filming stuff. There's a black hole in the movie that sucks up one of the dudes. It's just. The movie's just terrible. Though there was some cool practical effects where you saw a guy gets his head bashed in, and then as his head's getting bashed in, one of his eyeballs starts filling up with blood. I thought that was cool. Also, they see the doctor character from the first movie perform some kind of operation, and then with his nurses, take a baby and slit the baby's throat. So, not a fan of seeing babies killed in film. Though I would say the last scene in the movie was pretty cool, where one of the characters kills another character, spoiler alert, with a camera. But overall, I thought the movie was too long, and the first half was just terrible. Though there are some likable characters, some funny scenes in the movie. This movie wasn't for me, but I could definitely see people liking this movie. So, and I thought the performances were okay, right? Though Sean Rogerson, I don't know about his performance, but this guy was a TV actor, so it's you gotta give him I thought I think he did a decent job playing a crazy guy. It was a bit over the top, don't get me wrong, but it is what it is. It's the thing where the premise is kind of cool, where but it's the thing where wow, you're gonna trust somebody called Death Awaits to like, you're gonna trust this guy who's telling you, hey, come to this haunted building, when his username is called Death Awaits. That is so fucking dumb. But the main character was this, like, you know, this guy who's like this wannabe horror film fan who wants to create the greatest horror movie ever, right? So I guess he was, like, you know, a bit starved for, like, you know, content or something. So for him to make that awesome horror movie, because after a while he realized, hey, that slasher movie he was making was like fucking awful. Like, there's a scene where, like, the chick goes to look for her boyfriend in the movie, and then, like, she finds the body, and, like, the dude's head falls off, and it's like he was just standing there. Which, I've seen that kind of shit in horror movies, but they were usually in that horror comedies. It's not in serious horror movies. Yeah, I don't know. It's the thing where, like, I'm having a hard time giving this movie a rating. So that's probably a sign that this movie's just average. I'm giving it a 5 out of 10.